sure if this will run. Yes, so
recording has started.
Welcome everyone. Namaste. Anyone wants to chant?
I can try.
Zarur. Come. Start.
Okay. Sadashiv Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhasha Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. What verse?
64 to 6. No, 62 to 66.
Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Bhijayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammohaha Sammohat Smriti Vibramaha Smriti Bramshad Buddhi Naso Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati Raga Dveshu Viyuktaistu Vishayan Indriyaischaran Atma Vashyir Vidhe Atma Prasadam Adhigachyati Prasade Sarva Dukkhanam Hanirasyopajayate Prasanna Chetaso Hyashu Buddhi Paryavashishtate Nasti Buddhir Ayuktaisya
Nachayuktasya bhavana
Nachayuyuktasya bhavana Nacha bhavayata shantir Ashantasya kuta sukham.
Yes,
We
thank
need
you.
more practice with
Thank you,
Shruti.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes.
We can't hear you, Ditiji.
It was nice, Neeti. It was very nice.
Thank you.
Yes,
Lots of
absolutely.
learning to happen.
Yeah. So we are seeing a very important topic which is so practical and so immediately observable. It is so recognizable. It is step by step analyzed what is happening mentally, psychologically to human beings when they interact in the world. Without interaction, obviously, it's not possible. Senses are the doorways, the gateways to perceiving the world, to contacting the world. And through these sense organs, through Indriya, the objects that appear outside, that are seen outside, that are perceived outside, enter as if within. They take an entry within. So, Indriyas are the gateways which allow movement. There is movement from outside inside as if it's an accepted thing in the initial stages of learning. We start with the presumption that the objects are outside us. That is why Shastra goes along with us. And through the Indriyas, we allow the entry within. Once this Indriya is invoked, stimulated, illuminated, lighted up, activated. Once the Indriya is activated, the perception in terms of gyan, knowledge, is available now, has formed. Knowledge about the object is now there with the subject, with the person. This knowledge further goes received by manaha, mind. Mind and indriya have a very close proximity in the sense that indriya by itself cannot generate any response. For it to act, for it to have a response, the knowledge is handed over to mind. Mind is a collector. It's collecting information from all the indriyas. All the perceptions are entering. And it's a receptacle. It's a sukshma sharir. It's very subtle matter. Why is it subtle? Because it's not perceived by the indriyas. Mind perceives the indriyas, but indriya cannot perceive the mind. The information is indriya and vishay, object, sense organ and sense object, are as if two sides of a coin. They will come together, they remain together. Wherever there is an indriya, there is an object that it perceives. But by itself, it cannot act, it cannot respond to that knowledge. For example, my hand touches something hot and instantly the Twakindriya is activated. Knowledge of it being hot has now become a received, is now received. This object is hot. I have the knowledge. By itself, Indriya cannot tell the hand to move. It'll burn you. It goes to the mind, Sukshma Sharir. The mind, for most of us by now, has an accumulated response system already discerned by buddhi, educated by the society, by people, self learning, what is good and what is not good. That judgment, what is good for me, what is not good for me, that judgment is already stored. As a result of which, there are many such spontaneous spinal cord reactions that we give back quickly from the mind itself, as if it's sorted, as if it already knows what it should be doing. So, in an example like the hot object touched, a mind can instantly respond back and say, impulsively, you will remove your hand because it's a stored, accumulated knowledge in your interest. But it doesn't apply to every perception. In every perception, you cannot have a spinal cord response. It has to be analyzed further, it has to be judged further, it has to be figured out. A perception needs to be understood, an environment needs to be understood, an environment needs to be read. I need to understand where am I placed? What is what am I experiencing? What is it that is perceiving? Me perceiving. What am I perceiving? Etc. So when I start seeing that I certain complexities arise in an environment like two human beings interacting, it's not a simple object that our indriyas can perceive. The indriyas are perceiving only the physical frame of a person, but the personality of the person is not perceivable by the indriyas. But you are interacting with the person. So there is the complexity in a situation. You need to figure out, you need to understand, you need to attempt to understand. And so many times the information gets passed on to buddhi. Has to. Buddhi is another faculty available, which will decide, which will discern what is the right response to be given to this complex situation. Complexity created by what? Physical world doesn't create complexity. It is the subtle element which the sense organs are not perceiving, but you are still interacting with it, which becomes a topic of your anuman. You have to infer it, you have to judge it. Those are the things that create complexity. A big factor of creating a complexity, of being in a complex situation, seeing the complexity, is that the minute the response, I'm sorry, minute a perception is perceived, the filter that is here, the mind, already having it stored, we'll stick to the word impressions, whether they are called vasanas or samskars. Your mind has already a storehouse of information accumulated by past. How past? Don't worry. Past. It's a bundle of stored information. not conscious all the time, but it rises up in appropriate environment when stimulated. As a result of this, this perception goes and mixes up with the mind. Mixes up is a way of saying mind has received it. So it first triggers the stored impressions, my own past conclusions, and today, whatever my nature is, whatever I am as a person, is all built by me in such responses, conclusions. This mind, which is now stimulated, enlivened, is not a mere objective, passive receiver handing over the information to the subtle aspect. It's like manager handing over the file to the superior.
Correct.
It's not like that. Here the mind is now getting mixed up. It's stimulated. That stimulation of the mind mixing up with its past experience, or in the past experience are also the stored hopes for a future. They are also your past thoughts. Having mixed up over there, they now already give a biased handover to the director, the buddhi. The file already has more written on it than actual situation is saying. It already has a subjective interpretation onto the objective scenario. Once the data itself is passed on to buddhi, buddhi is just merely a discerning faculty. It will only work to separate, to think, to discern. It works only in terms of rationality. Buddhi is not a place of stored information. Buddhi is entirely just a faculty which separates. It's like, how would you say? An example like, say, a laser beam. What does a laser beam do? It just cuts. That's all its job is. No other job. Once the mind is colored, a subjectivity has come. This subjectivity is where most of us as human beings form our individuality. For all of us who know, our subtle body is made up of mano, buddhi, chit, ahankar. That chit aspect is the stored aspect of impression. Mind is that from where this chit is rising up, and now you have a bundle of present invoked state of your emotions, feelings, indecisiveness, in short, sankalpa, vikalpa, which means this or that, that state of thoughts which are helter skelter, uncertain, doubting, all these nature of thoughts. They are a part of your mind. Buddhi, as I just said, is a discerning factor. Ahankar is that which is giving you, combining all these together, a sense of individuality. So I own my senses, indriyas, I own my mind, and I own my thinking, my rationality. And I judge myself along with this body as a person, as an individual. This individuality sense that I have, this ahankar, individuality that I am calling myself as, is the very root of all kinds of clash, clash, all kinds of disturbances. Ahankar means I am arrogating the perception as myself. मेरे साथ, मैं हूँ, मेरा. As a result of this, the entire stored bundle of information that actually could just be information, just as you have a map, if you want to go from one place to another, and you have a map, and in that map, it's just information based. But if you start claiming the map to be you, how absurd it sounds. That's exactly what we do with the perceptions. This ahankar is forming a sense of identity with everything that it perceives. And 99% of us, we do not go beyond the realm of this mixed up response that the mind is generating because of its conditioned behavior, because my identity is centered around that. Where is it centered, if in a nutshell you would say? My feelings, my emotions, my thoughts, my likes, my dislikes, my relations, my idea, my action, my purpose, my duty. All of this is my. Without that, we don't know anything. We truly do not know anything. We are lost. In fact, we just don't know today. Shastra is here telling us what really is happening when you have a perception building. This perception at the level of Indriya, the information that it only gives is not only of the attributes of the object, but it triggers in you a sensation of pleasant, unpleasant. The subjectivity starts from there. Is that perception pleasant or unpleasant? That pleasant and unpleasant means now the mind is already shaping up. Shaping up as in the mind is beginning to give a response. Mind is already arisen. It's already received. And at the level of Indriya, you can like it or you don't like it. I like this ice cream, I don't like that ice cream. I like this and I don't like. These are all sense perceptions as knowledge perceived by us, meaning I like ice cream or I like chocolates, but I don't like dark chocolate. I like milk chocolate, I don't like dark chocolate. Now, I think this is my knowledge. Gyan hai na? What I prefer, what I don't prefer. What I see as liked by me, what has triggered the sensation of like in me. What is it that I'm attributing as अच्छा है ये, पसंद है, ये अच्छा नहीं है, ये पसंद नहीं है. Where is this judgment forming? Where is this conclusion coming? Where is it happening? A chocolate is a chocolate. Differentiate, okay, white chocolate, brown chocolate, milk chocolate, hazelnut chocolate, dark chocolate, this chocolate, that chocolate, chili chocolate. Go multiply it. All this variety, when it's there in front of me, I have a limitation in my action. I cannot have all of them in my bhog. Bhog will be one at a time. So when it is one at a time, I have to be selective. To be selective, I must have a criteria. That criteria, from the very early, the minute we open our eyes as a toddler, our criteria gets settled because at that time we don't have a faculty of thinking. It is settled and stored within the indriya as what is tasty for you, what you perceive as liked by you, what you've selected is giving you enjoyment or not. That enjoyment is triggered by your past experience stored as you carry forward. You don't know this consciously, but suddenly you like it. Some children like this, some children don't like that, like this. It is mixing up with your identity, even if you're not conscious at that time of who you are. But it is still forming stronger and stronger knowledge of what you like and what you don't like. There was once, there was a, when dogs are unwell and you feed them, do they eat? If you keep the most, uh, the
No,
best
they won't
food,
eat. You give them whatever you want. They won't eat.
they won't eat. They will just not eat. And they go and eat, they eat a particular kind of a grass with which a vomit is triggered. And then they throw out whatever was causing the indigestion to them, and then they're fine in a little while. Once it so happened there's a bottle gourd, which I never knew that a bottle gourd could also cause poisoning. Consumed, instantly your taste bud told you this is not correct. But bottle gourd is bottle gourd, supposed to be harmless. You take a little more, maybe something, and then sure enough, your body threw out. The sensation, what you liked before, but now is giving you the knowledge this is not likable. The same thing that was liked before in this experience is not liked, which means we are all the time superimposing what is beneficial for us and what is not beneficial for us with what we like and what we don't like. Because the information stored within that this is harmful for us is already survival based information. It's already a programming which is common to all living beings, nothing unique to human being. It is there in all animals, it is there in all insects, all birds. Everyone has that programming. In that programming, what is going to help in the survival of your life is looked upon as desirable. It gives you a little comforting, pleasant experience. But what is harmful is instantly rejected. We often give the example, your eyes, you don't even feel your eyes. But when you can't read, suddenly you feel the strain and you open your eyes wide open. You can't see you can't, now you know your eyes are there. Or if something falls in your eye, now suddenly you are removing the pebble, the dust. You know its presence when there is a disturbance. So as long as things are fine, you are not responding from the sense of, I don't like this or I like this. The body at the level of survival, the indriya itself has the knowledge this is harmful for you or not harmful for you. But what we are doing what we harmlessly have learned, and it's by default. We form an identity around it. We conclude this is me. ये मैं हूं. This is my personality. And I take it as a set. I take it as a set personality. It's as if this is changeless. This is something that cannot be altered. My likes and dislikes that I conclude as me, I take it as my nature. मैं हूं ये. This aropan, imposition, is first you have to recognize it's an imposition. Where it has come from, we've seen it in the last class. It comes from your sense of incompleteness, your sense of the fact that you are Atma and you do not know that, and Atma is Poonam, leaves you incomplete all the time for everyone. You're not unique. I'm not unique. Everyone who doesn't know that you are Atma, the nature of Atma alone is Poonam, alone is fulfilled, alone is complete. Those who do not know this are always feeling a sense of incompleteness, a sense of vacuum, a sense of void, a sense of restlessness, a sense of something is missing, that kind of a sense, which pushes us, propels us into this thing called gati. जीवन की गति में चलते रहते हैं with an idea, this is completing me. Now, when the Vishaya is entering, the object is entered through the senses, and the pleasant and unpleasant is triggered, without the conscious ahankari jeev interrupting it deliberately, means I say, this is my perception. Let me check whether this is a correct judgment or not. Let me check whether what I'm perceiving is right or wrong. Let me see if what I'm thinking is right or wrong. Let me just check it. Let me just gather information. Let me just collect data. Let me just be rational. Let me just figure it out before my mind starts to dwell upon, hold on to that pleasant experience and instantly reject the unpleasant experience. If I am able to stop it there, verse 62 said, Dhyayataha Vishayan. Regarding that object that has entered you now, it's already in your mind space, it's already in your subtle body. If it has been a pleasant experience, invariably this ahankari jeev who's looking for tripti, who's looking for poonam, who's looking for more happiness than it has, who's actually just looking for non-conflicting, non-competitive, non-diminishing state of happiness. I'm looking for it. That is why I'm only looking outside. What do I mean by outside? Outside as in mind, indriya, indriya with vishaya. So they come in one. It's like a train. The object without indriya is not known. Indriya by itself can do nothing. It has to pass on the information to mind. And if the ahankari jiva has not identified the faculty of buddhi and has not used it enough, is not able to tap into it, identify with it, उससे जुड़ते नहीं हैं हम इंद्रियों से अपने आप को जोड़े रखते हैं. The ahankari मैं जुड़ा रहता है विद द सेंस ऑफ ये अच्छा लग रहा है, ये अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, ये चाहिए, ये नहीं चाहिए. जुड़े रहते हैं हम उस व्यवहार से, उस व्यापार से जो बहिर्मुखी है. It's centered outside. Because of this, the mind's restlessness cannot be tackled. For me, the jiva, who is the individual today with my stored information, identified with this body and everything that I have, is all that is available. But that faculty, that laser beam also that I have within, the jiva has to identify, उससे जुड़ना पड़ता है. And the minute आप जुड़ते हो उससे, instantly everything, I'm saying instantly you will start seeing everything in a different perspective, with a different light. जब तक मन के साथ जुड़ के कुछ देखोगे, you will see chaos, you will see you will not see peace. मन के साथ जुड़ोगे तो कुछ अच्छा है, कुछ बुरा है, both. Let's put it this way. But बुद्धि के साथ जुड़ के जब देखोगे, तो everything as if will fall into place. You will see things differently. Buddhi is the only thing that can come and stop the pleasant sensation which will roll on if the individual is not joined with the buddhi. अगर हम बुद्धि से नहीं जुड़े तो मन में जो ये प्लेजेंट सेंसेशन का भाव आया है, ज्ञान आया है, ये अच्छा है, कितना सुंदर है, that's really nice. ये that ध्यायतः starts. And once this dhyayataha means ध्यान करना. ध्यान by very definition is repeat करना, repetition. Repetition of that pleasant sensation or unpleasant. You are repeating it without the buddhi coming to stop it. This is the first stage. If you look at it from now other standpoint, if you do not want to fall down to pranashyati stage that 63rd verse has said, you stop at the very first point. We said that in the last class. There you have full control over yourself, over everything. You are a master at that stage. The ahankari jiva is a master at the stage of recognizing, gained the knowledge, this is pleasant, this is unpleasant, ये अच्छा नहीं है, ये अच्छा है, ये पसंद है, ये पसंद नहीं है. Up to this point, the jiva, the individual, can join युक्त होके बुद्धि से. You remain a master of that perception. You can control it. You can own it. You can actually control it, and you can manage it. You can do what you want with that perception. It is under your observation. It is under your knowledge. You are the one who is at a higher point than the perception. You are sitting at the director's place, and the peon has brought in the information, handed it to the manager. The manager is giving it to the director, and the director is in full control what should be given back to the peon to give back to the customer. But as I just said, most of us have built our identity around our likes and dislikes. और ये राग और द्वेष, likes and dislikes are very mild words. इंद्रियों में भी रह सकते हैं, ये मुझे अच्छा है, ये मुझे, that is okay. इंद्रियों वाले likes and dislikes are fine. Like I just said, if my indriya told me that this bottle gourd is bitter, doesn't seem palatable, at all. Instantly, your body was throwing it. A wise person should have said, hold on, this is not the real nature of bottle gourd. Something is wrong. You could have thrown it away. That pleasant and unpleasant at the level of Indriya is not harmful. But when it becomes harmful, the same Indriya becomes harmful. When this information being passed on at the level of the mind is left uncontrolled. And with objects, it may still be easy, but with complexity of situations where other individuals and jivas are concerned, who themselves are bundles of same as I am. I don't know myself, they don't know themselves. I'm not sure of my likes and dislikes, they're not sure of their likes and dislikes. My likes and dislikes change, their likes and dislikes change. Means raga dvesh. When this is the base, then I tend to hold on to, when a thirsty person, really thirsty person, is given water, you bring the water in front and then take it away. You don't let the person drink. Uska kya hal hota hai? That is the hal for most of us. In most of the things that we want happiness from and we don't get it, we're looking for it. Wherever little we get also, a little a little uh, satisfaction, a little happiness, a little pleasant, harmonious feeling, a little joy in anything, we want to hang on to it. We want to hold it. That pleasant sensation, I start reveling in. I start allowing the repetition of it, even though the physical object is no longer in front of me. That is the test. That is why I said in the last class to clip it over here. The first level would be Dhyayataha itself is under my observation. What am I reveling on? What am I getting so carried away? Because whatever has given me a little pleasant sensation, I will instantly impose my entire need of happiness on that pleasantness. An entire need of my happiness will be transported, will be imposed, will be superimposed upon that object or that being. After that, what will happen? Up to this point, first, we should be very, very, very clear because we are going to reverse the cycle. By 64th verse, exactly where Krishna is going to tell us. Here, how do you stop it? What will you do to stop this mental lingering in the pleasantness of the experience? Achhi lagi and harmless lag rahi hai. After all, that person is not there. I'm doing nothing. I'm just allowing my mind to dwell on it. I liked it. I go to a nice place where there is a river flowing. It's a beautiful sight. In fact, the same principle, I'm overstepping a few steps and telling you what is now here. Ex- okay. The same step he will say is, supposing I love a place, a beautiful hilly area and water guggling and pleasant, morning beautiful, etc., or whatever, and you come back, the lingering remains for some time. That's why we go for holidays. Because when your indriyas have got a new perception, they are triggered, they hold the impression, they pass it on to the mind liked it, it matched with my previous likes and dislikes, so I hold on to it and I like it even further now, and that impression keeps before it's submerged again with a new fresh set of impressions when I come back, but it remains there for a little while. The same principle, this is where I'm overstepping at this point, but I'm taking a detour. The same principle is used in religion. When you go for any religious practice, say a parikrama, If you can do it once, all the adults, all the religious people in that place will say, keep it in your mind. Because the same thing you can do as a mental action. Dhyayataha vishayan. What is your first counter? The first counter to this fall is at the level of the dhyayataha itself. What is that I can do? Here I can be alert and examine what is this repetition, pleasant sensation is giving me the sense of completeness. Is this real? It's giving me joy. Is this real? Is this actually real? Is the only question. Because on that question, you can build further. Is this joy real? Instantly, because of Vedantic knowledge, here only Vedantic knowledge will come to our help. Because of Vedantic knowledge, my buddhi can discern Indriya sukh hai ye. Indriya janit hai ye. What does Indriya janit means? It's born from a sense contact. The happiness that has come from a sense contact. The pleasure that has been invoked because of a sense contact. इंद्रिय को अपने विषय के साथ मिलके एक सुख का अनुभव सा हुआ है, वो सुख सच्चा है, वो सुख रियल है, वो सुख है इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस. इंद्रियों का जॉब, इंद्रियों का काम सुख देना है क्या? Can sense contacts give me happiness? The happiness that I get in sense contact, sense pleasures that I call them, obviously I get, that's why I'm hooked on to them. Why else will I be hooked on to them? कुछ तो मिलता है. ये सोचने का विषय है कि जिसको मैं हार्मलेसली कह रही हूं कि कुछ तो मिलता है, आई नीड टू स्टेप अप. क्या कुछ भी मिलता है? And Shastra says, if you are able to find the flaw, कि इस विषय सुख में इंद्रिय जनित विषयों के सुख को भोगने में, मीन्स विषयों को भोगने में, इंद्रिय के सुख में, sense pleasures, enjoyment of the sense pleasures, is this really happiness that I seek? If I want to stop the lingering, I have to find the flaw of my imposition on it. मैंने सुख को उस पे आरोप किया है. विषय में सुख नहीं है, इंद्रियों में सुख नहीं है. इंद्रिय सुख, जिसको हम सुख कह रहे हैं, the maximum I can tell is, Shastra tells us, is that is actually just information that pleasant and unpleasant is exactly like pain in the body. I don't perceive my eye, but if something falls, I perceive it. I don't perceive my finger, but if it is cut, it gives me pain. I don't like that pain. Instantly, my attention comes to it. That pleasant and unpleasant is stored. But that is not sukh. That is helpful in survival. जिंदा रहने के लिए उपयोगी है. It is needed. It's ज्ञान actually. It's not sukh. It's ज्ञान. इंद्रियों का ज्ञान है वो. That sukh I am seeing on it, I have to go deeper into my own observation and recognize what is that kami that I'm imposing on the fulfillment of that desire. क्या है वो जो मिलने से मुझे लगेगा कि मैं मिल गया, अब तो हो गया. I have got everything that I wanted. I have achieved all that I wanted. अब प्राप्त हो गया वो वाला जो सुख से आया है, मिल जाके भी will it be final? अबाधित सुख होगा वो. So we need to understand it at two levels. One is, what is the nature of happiness that I'm really looking for? I know I'm looking for happiness. इसमें तो किसी को संशय है ही नहीं. Nobody has a doubt there that we want happiness. What is the nature of that happiness that I'm looking for? What is it that I'm asking? So when it comes to mind, which is projecting happiness on that with an idea that I want it now, तृष्णा बनने लगती है. पहले ध्यान हो रहा है, रिपीट हो रहा है, आई लाइक्ड इट, प्लेजेंट, वहीं के वहीं you stop it. Find the flaw. You must have a dosha darshanam. You must see what I'm calling as sukh. Does it have a seed of dukh there? ये बहुत बड़ी बात है, and it may unsettle quite a few if you're not ready for it. But that's the only way you can spiritually grow. आपको इंडिपेंडेंट सुख चाहिए, इंद्रिया बेस्ड सुख नहीं चाहिए. वो सुख नहीं है. तो यू विल हैव टू डिसर्न कि जिसको हम इंद्रिया बेस्ड सुख कह रहे हैं उसमें दोष क्या है. और द वे टू फाइंड द दोष इज दैट सुख फॉलोड बाय सम दुख. अगर प्राप्ति का सुख हुआ है एंड आई एम एंजॉयिंग इट, कैन आई सी कि इसमें कोई दुख है? इज माय एग्जाम्पल क्लियर? Am I making?
Yes. Well, I have one question, Dipti ji. But भगवान ने तो इंद्रियां दी हुई है ना सबको.
Mm-hmm.
So you use it in a like when you're seeing something, you don't attach. You see it with detachment, everything.
Yeah.
Is that the approach that you need to inculcate?
That's what I'm just elaborating. That's exactly
Okay,
that
sorry.
I'm elaborating. No, that's okay, perfectly fine. Maybe I am elaborating a bit too much. That the message.
आपने बोला बुद्धि को मतलब बुद्धि से जुड़ो, राइट? तो वो कैसे करने का, बुद्धि से कैसे जुड़े?
विचार से, thinking. That's exactly the example I'm giving just now. That can I see the dukh there forward? If I say I wanted a phone and I got a phone, I'm happy, right? When I'm happy, do I see a dukh following it in that acquisition of that object? Can I find that it follows a dukh?
Like over reliance on the object, over dependence on the object.
Yes. What else? I hope
It will weaken my thinking capacity.
Okay. What is the dukh that you can identify? बड़ा simple logic है ये.
इंद्रियों के जुड़ा हुआ सुख जो है उसके पीछे दुख है खोने का.
हाँ, correct.
उसी सुख को खोने का दुख भी है.
Exactly. प्राप्ति का सुख है तो बिछड़ने का दुख तो होगा. If you've got happiness because you've got something, will it be permanent? Will it last?
No.
You are allowing the dukh to come as well. As I said, they're both two sides of a coin. अगर आप इंद्रिया के सुख को अपनाना चाह रहे हो तो आपको इंद्रियों के साथ जनित दुख जो आएगा वो भी उतना ही अपनाना पड़ेगा. You'll have to accept it because they will follow each other. can I see this at the time when I am depending on that object of example gaining a phone? अगर ये गेन करने के पहले मैंने सब like I'm going to redo the example. I see a phone in someone else's hand and I say, oh, I like it. No? Now I like it stops there. It's Indriya Janat Gyan. Yes, ये अच्छा लग रहा है. It's okay, fine. I can end the perception with perception. That's the exercise. I'm ending it here. I'm not carrying it back with me. मुझे अच्छा लगा, that's my information. I like such an object. That's my information. It's telling me the kind of objects I like. It ends there. But if I'm not alert and I'm saying ha, acha, I wish, okay, kitne ka, and that, like we said, yes, last class, I'm asking further information. I'm thinking I'm getting value for it. I'm asking questions. Kitne ka hai, kaisa hai, kahan se mila, kya hai, etc. But I am actually multiplying the thoughts and I'm bringing my closeness, sangaha to it. I'm connecting myself to it. I'm bringing myself closer to the object. मेरा मन उसके बार बार सोचने के कारण I have a proximity with the object. And the minute I develop a proximity with that object, here the first point I said is, if at the very level of dhyayataha, I can tell myself, okay, I really like it. If I'm not watchful, I know this is getting me closer because I like it. And normally I wouldn't have thought if all this wasn't there in my life. I would have just gone, come, what may I need it and I'd procure it. However expensive, doesn't matter. I like it, so I like it. I'll get it. And I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm not seeing anything wrong with it at that stage. But here Shastra tells me, if at that level I can see what follows that acquisition में जो सुख मिल रहा है मुझे आज सोच के I have not yet acquired it. I'm still thinking that if I get it, I'll be happy. I'll get happiness. If ये सोच के जो मुझे अभी आनंद मिल रहा है, अभी मुझे ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं मिला है, at that point, fast forward in your thinking. And this is a very big thing our lineage of acharyas have taught us. Every student of Vedanta, a seeker of the truth, picks it up like anything. Fast forward it before it has multiplied into sangaha. Follow the perception. इसकी पूरी लाइफ साइकिल देखो. अगर मिला है तो इसके खोने का भय हमेशा रहेगा साथ. इसके छूटना है, कभी ना कभी छूटेगा. I will have to bear the pain of the viyog. Exactly what Arjuna has to do. वियोग का दुख तो होगा. अगर संयोग का सुख हुआ है तो वियोग का दुख तो होगा. दैट ध्यायतः अगर इंसान वहां पे सोच लेता है तो संगह, वो जो ऑटोमेटिक जुड़ना है माइंड का, विच विल फॉलो द होल साइकिल, एंड देन यू विल बी दुखी, काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मद, मात्सर्य, ये जो पूरा साइकिल होगा, you will stop it. It won't build. Why won't it build? Because I have already seen that this is a short term gain. It has come for a purpose, it will have a utility, it has a, even if it's a person, it will give me some, you know how they talk of soulmates, kind of, okay, fine, even then, that joy will be for a little time. It is not going to be everlasting. I must get ready. It will create some parting, it will create some viyog, etc., etc. So, seeing that if I dwell on it and I develop my attachment with it, and that attachment is going to push me into a stronger sense of wanting it. That now, if I don't get it, I am undoubtedly a miserable person. I see value in my getting it. वो जो शुरू हुआ शोभना अध्यासा से, this is pleasant, I need it, will come to the point of kamaha, desire, I want it desperately. And if I don't get it, now nobody can give me shanti. I'm not going to be shant till I get it. मेरा मन अब बहुत व्याकुल रहेगा because that thought has built up. It's gained strength. It's become a thick stream of thought. A thick stream of thought. A buddhi, can it handle it at that point is the question. Your buddhi can handle it at a dhyayataha level. It can handle it at a sangaha level also to some extent. How is it at dhyayataha level? Dosha darshanam. Then and there, pratipaksha bhavna. Find the flaw and see if you can do without it. If you need it, fine. Go ahead with an understanding, with knowledge that it's an object that will give you some happiness, but you're ready, accept. You will never get to the point of smriti brahmshat if you gain an object with that knowledge. So dosha darshanam is going to be an exercise for anyone who wants to free oneself from the dependent stage of happiness. And dosha darshan, you know, is not the Hindi kind of a dosh darshan. Usme bhi dosh dikhta hai. It's not a pessimistic kind of a darshan. It's not encouraging pessimism in you. It is actually developing realism in you. It develops a value of real things as they are, the relative real as they are, seeing things as they are, and what they can offer, what they can be of value. Just keeping it at that, having a very realistic approach to objects and life and people. It's not pessimism at all. Many people think when I say the word, Shastra says the word, दोष दर्शन, तो वो तो हम वैसे ही भरे हुए हैं, हम तो वैसे ही सब में दोष देखते रहते हैं. उसमें भी ये प्रॉब्लम है, उसमें भी ये प्रॉब्लम है, उसमें भी ये प्रॉब्लम है, ये भी प्रॉब्लम है, वो भी प्रॉब्लम है. हमारा तो वैसे, we are all oriented only to see दोष. That's not the dosh. That dosh I am seeing from my dvesh, from my standpoint. What I would think should complete me and I don't find it, so I call it as a dosh. That's not dosh. Dosh is in recognizing the swabhav of this object. ये कैसे स्वभाव रहेगा इस ऑब्जेक्ट का, एंड इसमें जो मैंने सुख डाला है, मुझे उस सुख के इम्पोजिशन को दोष देखना है. क्या ये ऑब्जेक्ट एवरलास्टिंग है? क्या ये सुख एवरलास्टिंग है? Is it going to be undiminishable, undestroyable? Will it give me the shanti that will stop me in my pursuit for happiness? Will it stop me? That is stopping it there. And then, of course, by the time you come to sangaha, that sangaha also can be countered before it develops that bring back the value, all at the level of vichar, all at the level of thinking. So as the question is that Divya is asking, बुद्धि से कैसे जुड़ते हैं? बुद्धि से जुड़ने का मतलब सिर्फ इतना है, सोचना, विवेक. Identify the vivek shakti in you and उससे जुड़ो. That's the only way it can be done. Identify और उससे जुड़ो. It much easier. It gets easier, let's put it, it gets easier to identify after the first identification. The first time this is buddhi, let me stick to it. In every situation, what is my buddhi telling me? What is my mind telling me? What is the indriya विषय? इंद्रियों का विषय क्या है? मन में क्या है? बुद्धि क्या कह रही है? It can be figured as simply as this. Divya?
Um, Thinking what happens when people are involved. See here, like it's a very black and white thing, right? Like you don't like a phone, or you like a phone, you're able to tell your buddhi and mind that okay, mind is getting colored, so buddhi will prevail, right? When your loved ones are involved, it is difficult. Like
That is
and
exactly what we are saying. The complexity, what is making it difficult, is where we start identifying. The principle won't change. Just because it's difficult, does it mean that it is going to be a different thing from this? It just means it's
it
difficult
can totally
because
be wrong.
emotions overpower. Why do they overpower?
But there
Because of the same reason.
That's why
there is
we
no
need to
possibility
practice.
that buddhi
Ah,
can be wrong, right?
that's why you need to practice. Sorry, Divya, I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
So, PPG, so can the buddhi be wrong? Like,
It can be wrong. Good point. Good point. Your buddhi can also go wrong. But what is the difference? It's not always certain that your buddhi is right. Your buddhi can make a wrong assessment. In fact, your buddhi will always be right in a context. That context will change. If it changes, your buddhi can change a decision. What is right at a young age is not right now. Your buddhi said something at that time, it says something else now. Yes, buddhi doesn't mean that it's a line of uh, non negotiation, it's a permanent line. No, buddhi will have to constantly assess. Situations change, people change, things change. Buddhi has to constantly make fresh assessments. In the olden days, this example was given to us, which was very nice. Now, I don't think even that applies anymore. But the example is be like a tailor. Who is a tailor supposed to be? Today, it doesn't work. I don't think it works anymore. Most of the tailors also tell you just give us your sample piece and we'll make accordingly. A tailor is supposed to be one who takes your measurements fresh every time. Why? Because your body is changing. Fresh measurement, fresh assessment. You have to understand your situation, present situation, current scenario. It's a fresh thing. It becomes even with people. Every few years, the situation changes, circumstances change, people change, their situation changes, so things change. Is that fine? Am I making.
yes,
all all very very subtle and needs to be alert all the time.
This is an understanding.
That
This is
that's
why
why
we are
you
breaking
make
it up is
mistakes.
because, exactly. We are breaking it up to understand as closely as possible. After that, yes, up to our own capacity and all. At least the principle should be clear to us. The idea is to make ourselves very clear because this is so beautiful a portion that why have we slipped into a state of a disturbed mind, and why is it allowed as sanctioned if my desire is interrupted? There is road rage, supposing, on roads, a simple thing, and there is somebody just goes violent. What is that? Is it controllable? People say control your anger, control your this. What do you mean by control? How do you control? कहना बहुत आसान है ना, control, control, control. How do you control? How does an angry person control anger? How does a vicious person control viciousness? How does a greedy person control greed? And all this is in the context of what? That is a laukik, vyavharik life. Most people are never going to assess this. But for those who are aspirants of the knowledge, Brahma Vidya, Shastra actually tells us, I'm not sure how many of you are ready to receive the statement. Shastra says, एक एक अगर आप में एक इच्छा भी रह जाती है, it's an absolute state, of course. That's what they are telling us over here in Sthita Prajna. Vish entirely sarvan kaman manogatan. These are not just words and poetry. A person who has given up all desires from the mind. And then it came in the 64th verse as a therefore संयम्य युक्त आसीत. संयम रखो अपने पे. सर्वाणी इंद्रियाणी संयम रखो. संयम रख के स्थित प्रज्ञा क्या करता है? वो बैठता है. Means he moves when he has to and doesn't trigger his indriyas when he doesn't need to. Matparaha, taking me as the highest. And that is where the sangaha comes as a practice. जब विषयों से संग हो चुका है, तो only way नहीं, the way Shastra recommends is, put this mind has to get sanga. Either वो इंद्रियों से जुड़ेगा, या इसको बुद्धि से जोड़ो, और या फिर इसको भगवान से जोड़ दो. Those who cannot join it with बुद्धि, ज्ञान योग नहीं आसान, आत्मानात्मा विचार नहीं है. मत पराहा. There the interpretation of mat paraha is Krishna saying, मुझसे जुड़ जाओ. संग बनाना है, मुझसे बनाओ. विषयों से मत बनाओ. इंद्रिय विषय से मत बनाओ. If you have to form an attachment, form it with me. Because mind's nature is it has to hold on to something. So if it will not hold on to the indriyas, it will hold on to the directed to hold on to the higher. So then, once this indriyani, you have countered it at the level of dhyanam, not having a repetitive nature of thoughts. In fact, being just watchful. जब बहुत ज़्यादा मन में चलती है विषय, lot of them we don't mind. Every day is a beautiful day. It's only those that get stuck. You know, we say ना, अटक गई वो चीज, जा ही नहीं रही मेरे मन से, अटक ही गई है. You know, वो बैठ गई है. That thing is there in my mind. That person's words are ringing in my ears. Said I don't know how long ago, but they still seem as if they were just said. They still have the ability to hurt me. They still have the ability to cause me pain. They still have the ability to cause anger in me. I get angry when I think about it. All this is same, countered at the point of being vigilant, not allowing the sense perceptions to form unintelligent associations in the world, unintelligently imposing happiness on objects. And here the sadhak to will never do nishiddh cheezon ka sevan, but in the world you find that need for happiness pushes people to do things that are absolutely harmful for them. They get into abusive things, they get into abusive bhog of some nature or the other, which destroys them ultimately. So he said, this allowing more and more of counter thoughts which bring reality to you, a balanced perspective is what I would use the word. अगर मन आपका बह रहा है एक जगह पे, उसको बैलेंस करने के लिए counter perception needs to be brought in. That is why all the debates, and that is why you take opinions from other people, you ask other point of views, you take other things into consideration, so that your mind has a counterpoint. Absolutely correct. I'll just repeat that. So that your mind has a balanced perspective is where, after all, what did he say a few verses before? Samatvam yoga uchyate. You see, when you see verses by themselves, they may form a beautiful intellectual validity. But the idea of this knowledge is that till your mind starts seeing that this is the truth of life and my experience and everything to do with me, it comes to every moment of life. Till then, the Shastriya Shabd, what they have used, I have to go on understanding till I'm able to start seeing it as knowledge of life. यही तो हो रहा है. Ab don't we all know that if I have an expensive car, who was that? Someone who bought a very expensive car 2 days ago. It came as a news item some time back, and in a little while, I don't remember the details, but in a little while, had a very bad accident or something had happened, and the car was smashed. Now,
Isn't that cricketer, I think?
oh
Bumrah.
no, oh that yes, that example also now, but that's a different kind of. This was not, no, not Pant. I think that, no, it's not this. This is a little and a very expensive something. This is also a correct example. I forgot about that. That can also come, but it has more to explain. In that in the example of Pant, there's a lot more to explain. But here, no, not Rishabh Pant. There is more in that example. This is another. Just that person's pain. Rishabh Pant escaped it, prarabdham. So there's more pleasantness in that example. That person he was also a celebrity somewhere. Completely destroyed, smashed. Doesn't
Tata's, the
doesn't matter.
Cyrus.
Don't go into the names. Take the
Okay,
example.
okay.
It's not important. The example is important. As long as that person's only helping us remember the point. The point is it not happening every day? Is this not happening entirely all our life? Why are we completely so lost? Why are we completely so dejected by the time, still feeling lost? And every generation has a new world it presents that the previous generation can literally not offer much to them. It's a whole new world. I'm telling you, this mechanism of learning Shastra is unheard of. I can't imagine that this would have been a platform on which I would have taken a class ever. So much a world can change. So much is changing, not can change, is changing. Now, unless or until we are able to, what is the knowledge actually? I call it the highest insurance plan. This is the greatest protection. It's the best insurance plan one can invest in, because the day, even if a little gets understood, it protects you completely in life from everything that can go wrong. It will still protect you. What is that law that protects you? It's purely identifying the truth, the knowledge. Identifying the knowledge, even if it's still not completely as Aham Brahmasmi, that you've identified the right stream of pravritti, nature's method of growth and evolution, and you're falling in line with it. That becomes your protection. Because these are universal laws. This is not a knowledge which is a fiction. It's not about something, it's about me. I may not recognize it, and I may not see the mm, immediateness of it straight away. It's not aparoksh for me today, may not be. Or a very small section may be aparoksh for me. Most of it will be pata nahi kab samajh aayega, yeah, maybe for someone else. We have concepts of Ishvara, we have our own concepts of devtas, we have our own concepts of karma. We have all formed our own knowledge, you know, of what is right, what is wrong. The society tells us this, we do this. We are all bundled in our own thoughts. When we understand this portion, the entire of, as I said, second chapter is a summary of the whole of the Gita. Every concept here is straight away applicable in life. So the minute you see that there is too much lingering on something pleasant or unpleasant, किसी की बात मुझे अच्छी नहीं लगी. I'll take an example. Supposing it's not a real example, just taking an example. Supposing, but it's a universal thing. All of us would have that. Today, somebody said something to you and you didn't like it. मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगा. The minute you say मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगा, I'm asking you this now. Next time you meet the same person, what will be your first thought?
I don't like it.
Will you be objective in meeting the person the way you met them the first time before they said those words to you?
No.
Now, this is where Shastra comes in. That the minute I have seen that, oh, I did not like it, definitely next is not going to be the same. Definitely, I need to neutralize it. Because people will change all the time. They may change for better, you may change for better, you may change for worse, they may change for better. Anything can happen. Now, the minute I see, oh, I didn't like this, now I know the next thought would be this is a natural psychological movement of the antakaranam in avidya. ये अपने आप होगा, मुझे कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. I don't like it, I'll avoid the person. I don't like it, I'll find ways of, you know, remaining aloof or give cold response or do something like that. That's a natural thing. So then what will happen? If I have to learn, if I'm serious about this knowledge in my life and I want to see the prasad of what this knowledge gives me, I want to go to that end when I receive the prasad of knowledge. Then what do? The minute I have a dislike, I have already been taught, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. I've seen it up to the point of vinashyati. At the level of that thought, what will I do?
Don't dwell on it.
Don't dwell. So how will I counter it? Don't dwell, kehna aasan hai. How will
I'm thinking often positive, something positive about the person.
the dosh in my conclusion? Counter it with something positive also is one of the ways. But my own thinking has a dosh. I just said it. What is the dosh? Are they will change, I will change. कुछ कहा है तो कुछ अपनी प्रवृत्ति में कहा है, अपने गुणों से कहा है, अपने स्वभाव से कहा है. उनके स्वभाव उन्होंने भी तो एक्यूमुलेट अविद्या में किया है. मैंने भी अपना स्वभाव एक्यूमुलेट अविद्या में किया है. ना वो सही है ना मैं सही हूँ. वो भी सही है, मैं भी सही हूँ. And by the time you've done this much also uha poha, what has happened to that?
What is all vision?
And so next time when you meet the person, it is as an information that this person's guna can likely cause a hurt, but that hurt should not enter me. Because if it enters me, I am the one who's going to be disturbed. I will hold on to it.
Yeah.
Hey, उनके गुणों में उनकी वाह कैसी हो सकती है उनका, that's okay, but I don't have to be a part of it, no? And immediately the best countering that can work in life, I think when we did the workshop also I gave it. All the time works. The minute you have an inauspicious thought or something like this, especially when you say someone is the cause of your disturbance, at that time when the dislike is coming, instantly Bring that person in the realm of Ishvara's creation. This is Bhagwan's creation. This is their nature. This is his laws working. I get prasad of everything I deserve. It's okay. I don't have to personalize someone's words beyond a point. If it's worth criticism, it's great. But if they're just imposing their own nature, I don't have to dwell on it. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. It must end with that. Bring it under Ishvara's creation. Rise yourself to understand the law is above you and your individual perception and your individual choti si nikki si dunya. It is above that. And if you identify as much at that point, instantly you must put in the effort to neutralize your susceptibility of that perception to convert into a dvesh. And so, mind will not have raga dvesh. And that's the 64th verse, where he said, raga dvesha vimuktaihi tu. Freeing yourself from raga and dvesh. So, I'm putting a lot of emphasis because it is absolutely everyday job. Every day, yes, law of dharma, excellent. Yes, delete browsing history. Yes, or have your privacy. Absolutely correct. Yes.
DTG, if the thought has become very strong,
Huh,
right? What do we do?
correct. Of it has become a strong as in over here. It has become a desire, or it has become a strong dvesh or a strong rag. Rag is desire. Desire to acquire, I mean, desire to gain happiness out of that object by removing the object or the person. Strong as in what? Is it a strong desire already?
Yes, like if you tried your level best, but that phone just got stuck in your head,
Hmm.
and the thoughts kept coming in. You tried, but it didn't work.
And
Now
how,
it's a strong desire.
and how often was it repeated to have become so strong? I'm just taking an arbitrary figure. Supposing mind automatically dwelt on it say 1,000 times before you see that it has become a helpless force in you today, and you have tried the countering about 200 times, will you gain freedom from it? To the extent you have done 200 times, you may have diluted it, but you may not recognize the dilution still. But every time you put in the effort to counter it, you're already one step better in controlling it. All it says is continue, abhyas, abhyas, till you find freedom from it. It will not happen on its own. You allowed that perception to remain in you, occupy your mental space. You did not remove it when you should be removing it. Like they do with all terminal cases, terminally ill cases. They say the best time is to pick it at the first stage. Why? Because the success rate is very high, picked up early. Exactly the same thing over here. Dhyayata Vishayan Pumsa. If you would have picked it up at the right time, the first ball at the first step, it was easy to control. But if it has fallen few steps down, and if you're catching it at the third stage or the fourth stage of the disease, it is going to be difficult. But here, in this context of becoming free, yes, there is nothing like a fatal failure. Every effort will have brought you that much closer to bringing yourself to freedom. Stay with it till you have gained freedom from it. That practice अभ्यास कितनी देर करना पड़ेगा? जितनी आपकी स्ट्रेंथ थी उस डिजायर की, उससे थोड़ा ज्यादा. It's a common mathematics, isn't it? Suppose when there's a tug of war happening, on this side is the pull, and then to counter it, you have to pull it over here. Now, who is going to pull stronger is going to win. So, if those thoughts remain stronger, or the counter thoughts get stronger. So, an intelligent person works to build counter thoughts all the time. किसी चीज
So
किसी
it's a tug
विषय
of
के
war.
साथ आसक्ति करते ही नहीं वो. That is why he said asangah. Previous verses take this whole prakarnam as a complete prakarnam in itself of the Siddha Prakya. What his lakshanas are becomes our practice. Sorry, you were saying something?
So it's a tug of war between the buddhi and the mind all the time.
Between, yes. And the mind gets pulled by the indriyas. So the tug of war will be between buddhi asserting itself and mind becoming comfortable to follow it. Till then, you have to find ways to get the mind to listen to you.
So Deepti, if you get an acquisition with a good with a very stable thought of saying that okay, this is something which is not going to be permanent happiness, it's going to be temporary, so one should be prepared for it, right? So does it? So you have removed the rust out of it, right? So it will it still mentally will it still be like maybe I gave it to my desire, I should have gone into, I mean, should I have that guilt of thinking, oh, I gave it to the, I mean, I gave it to my indriya. Should that be there?
Can you please repeat that again? I think I understood it
So
differently.
so So basically, if you bought a phone, like you gave into your desire, right? You
Right.
bought a phone, but you told yourself that listen, it's not going to give me happiness. I know it's going to diminish. It's not going to have a value. I'm thinking, or my happiness is going to come out of it. It's not. It's going to go away. So if I buy it with that intent, right? Should I still have to give that I gave it to my indriya?
No, not just with that. See, you will know yourself if you have justified it. If you have a guilt, that means you were justifying it. The reasoning was justification. It was not an actual reasoning. When I buy a phone, all happiness that a phone can give should be incidental. It gives that object is giving me the freedom to take a class. Without an object, where will I take a class? Supposing it's utility. That utility has given me indirect happiness. So the object is bringing happiness on its own, but I am not the one who's seeking it. Am I making sense?
Yes, so that becomes an indicator. If I am saying and I have a guilt, that
Ha.
means my
That means
reasoning
I
was
have gone round and round in justifying it. I needed it, I want it, I still look at it as an object of happiness. The best thing always with objects is that you should use them for utility that they are worth and respect the object for it. Never look down upon an object because it's an object. What Shastra is saying is the pleasure is your weakness. Having objects is not looked down upon. That's what the whole Lakshmi is. Respect an object. We have which puja we have? Vishwakarma puja. Isn't that Vishwakarma puja? Where you pray to the instruments.
You pray to your work instrument.
Every instrument that has become a means to bring you artha and kama, all what society looks upon as inert, in our shastra we look as nothing as inert. That phone is also is useful, has a utility. I respect the utility, and the minute I respect the utility, will there be a desire for it then? The desire is when I want to own it. But a object has its own worth. the pleasure that comes from a good camera, you know, pleasure is it's a worth, and it's not everybody can utilize that. So many of us have smartphones, we don't know half the features we don't use. We are not smart enough as the phone is, as they say. Objects
Yes,
have their
actually.
own worth and they should be respected for the worth they offer.
The same way you respect your body also.
Exactly. Same, in our
It's an option.
understanding of all this gyan that comes to us, nothing in the world is looked down upon. Especially things that give you convenience. We never look them down upon. We never look them as objects that I own. We look upon them as objects that are adding value to my life, so I'm grateful for them. They add value to me. It's very cold outside. I don't think I would have taken a class if I didn't have. I don't, but I'm not using it. But supposing, if I don't have these warm clothes, the warmth is giving me a value. How am I using that value? Am I using it for my pleasure? Am I using it am I using it with an idea that I own it? And that's where you neutralize it completely. Okay?
Deepti ji, I want to thank you for such a beautiful lesson today.
Thank you.
This lesson today, for all of us, for everybody, should be the complete grant. It's a life lesson,
It is.
And the two keywords that I have received from what you have said today is, number one, the conditioned behavior. It gives us the wisdom, as well as it pulls us away from taking new challenges.
Right.
We have to be polishing our conditioned behaviors every day.
Mm.
And the second thing is managing our desires at a very initial stage.
Correct.
And those two things are such a huge lesson for us to attain happiness, the true happiness.
Absolutely. And that is absolutely correct. Thank you. Also, because from here we start valuing the smallest things in life, and they add to the value of happiness. So,
So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Any other question? If none, then we'll conclude here. And would you like to end, Neetaji?
Yes. Sarvesham swastirbhavatu, Sarvesham shantirbhavatu, Sarvesham purnam bhavatu, Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu, Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, Sarve santu niramaya, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, Ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam Nyayena margen mahim mahisha Go-brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu Kale varshatu parjanyah Prithvi shasya shalini Deshoyam shobharahitah Brahmana santu nirbhayah Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dipti ji.
Thank you, Ji.
so much.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Ji. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Deepti ji. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
The broadcast of Facebook Live recording has stopped.
Thank you, everyone.